In this video, we're going to take a look at some basic font formatting commands. Most of these are pretty straightforward. They apply in lots of Windows applications, so it shouldn't take long to go over these. I'm in the Alice in Wonderland document, and I'm going to go down to the first paragraph. I'm actually on page 2 here because we've got a title page. I'm going to go down to the first paragraph here, and we're going to look at the things that are in the font group here on the Home tab. So most of these should be pretty familiar to you. They're used in lots of Windows applications. So let's take a look at them, starting with the font name. So if I want to change the font name to something else, I can scroll down here, and it does do a live preview as I move the mouse over these. So you don't actually have to select it to see what it's going to look like. You can just pause the mouse. Okay, let's change this first paragraph to Arial. Another thing you can do is, let's say I want to change it back to Verdana. First of all, I use that font a lot, so it's in my recently used font list here. So frequently you don't have to scroll very far to find something unless you're trying something that you haven't used for a while. So I'm going to, instead I'm just going to type in VE. And if you start to type in the font name, if you've typed in enough letters to make a unique selection, it will finish the font name for you, and then you can just hit enter, and now I'm back to a Verdana font. If you want to change the font size, we've got options here. You can go down to 7. You can also type any number in here that you want to. And you notice that this also does a live preview. As I move the mouse down the list here, it increases by 1 until I get to 12, then it increases by 2s for a while until I get to 28, and then it increases by 8, and then it increases by 12, and then it increases by 24. So you can pick any size here that you want to, and that's also pretty straightforward. There are some buttons right next to it here that do basically the same thing. This one has a little arrow pointing up, and that's to increase the font size. And if I click on that once, it takes me to 11. It was 10 before, and then 12, and then 14. It doesn't increase it by 1. What it does is it goes to the next item on the list here. So if I click this again, it'll take me to 16, and then 18, and 20, and 22, and so on. And this one goes in the opposite direction, again, picking numbers off of the list here. So we'll go down to 20, 18, 16, 14, 12, and then we start going by ones again. And now we're back to the original 10 point that we started with. We've also got some options here for changing the case. And I've got the entire sentence selected here. Sentence case is going to be pretty close to what I have right now. It looks like there's only one sentence in this paragraph. It's going to capitalize the first letter, and it will shift everything else to lowercase, which means it will probably mess up my spelling of the word Alice here. It does not. It's smart enough to do that. Let's go back up here and try lowercase, and it converts everything to lowercase. Let's go back and try everything to uppercase. And let's try capitalize each word. So this would be if you're doing a title. And the last one would be toggle case. And that changes upper to lower and lower to upper. And that is usually only necessary if you had the shift lock on or the caps lock on by mistake. But actually most applications anymore, if you do start off typing it backwards like this, it will automatically change the caps lock for you anyway. So let's undo this a few times to try to get back to where I was before at the very beginning. And this looks like where I was on Verdana 10. There's also an option here to clear all of the formatting. And there's not much formatting that's been applied to this. If I click on that, I don't even get any changes. It basically takes you back to normal, which is what I have here by default anyway. If I go to this one and click on it and say clear all formatting, that one had been formatted as a heading 2, I believe, and now it's back to normal. So if you get something and you have a hard time getting it to look the way you want to, sometimes the easiest thing to do is just go back and start over, and the easiest way to start over is just to go here and click on the clear all formatting button. I'm going to do an undo here so I can get my chapter heading back the way that it was before, and it was a heading 2. We'll talk more about styles in another video. Okay, down here we've got some options for bold, italic, and underline, and these are just toggles. This is already bold, so this button is pushed in. Then we're going to click on it, and it's a toggle, so now it's not bold anymore. Let's leave it that way for a bit. Italic is a toggle, turn it on, turn it off. Underline is a toggle, turn it on and turn it off. Strike through is a toggle, you turn it on, turn it off. Subscript, this looks kind of weird. That's not what you use subscripts for. Let's turn that back off. That's a toggle. Superscript, I'm going to get the same thing, except they're going to be higher, and that's also a toggle. Let's do this. Let's just put a number on the end of Alice here, and we'll select it. And first thing we'll do is we'll make it a subscript, and so it goes a little bit below the line. Then we'll make it into a superscript, and it goes a little bit above the line, and then we'll just click another time, and it returns us back to the original formatting for that number. Then we've got, let's select the whole paragraph here. Then we've got something called text effects, and these first 15 options here are what are called word art, and we'll do another video on word art later on, but basically word art just takes existing text and applies some formatting to it to try to make it look kind of fancy. And this is stuff that you would probably only use if you're trying to do like a poster or something like that. You're not going to need something like this in like a term paper or something very often. We've got a bunch of options down here for applying some of the individual characteristics of some of this word art. If I choose outline and if I pause my mouse over this stuff, it's going to do a colored outline for the text. If I click on shadow, I should get a live preview. It should put shadows in different positions. If I do reflection, this one's going to end up requiring a little more spacing because the reflection is going to be in front of the text, and in order to see it, you're going to have to increase the line spacing a little bit. There's a glow option that makes the text kind of glow, and the further you go down here, the more pronounced the glow is. If you don't like the colors there, you can pick some more. We've got number styles, and I don't know if you need to actually do this very often at all. The default number formatting is usually pretty good. We've got ligatures here, which basically does some two-character combinations for you, and that's also something I don't think you're going to need very often. And we'll skip over stylistic sets for now. The next thing is a highlighter, and if I should get a live preview on this too. So this just basically works like a highlighter. If you had this was a piece of paper and you had an actual highlighting pen. So you can pick any color you want. You probably want something that contrasts pretty well, so you wouldn't do dark blue over black. Then we've got a font color here, and we've got standard colors that are always available no matter what theme you're using. So these are always here, and we've also always got white and black. But in addition, we've got a bunch of theme colors, and we get I think 10 columns of colors here. And the first one is what the remaining ones in the column are based on. It's just different degrees of lightness or darkness. So everything in this column is a shade of orange. And if you don't like these and you don't like the standard colors, there's more colors here, and we get this little color hexagon, and we've got a bunch of little smaller hexagons inside of it, and you can pick whichever one you want for a color there. If that's not enough for you, there's a custom here, and you can go in here and you can pick any combination of red, green, and blue that you want. The red goes from 0 to 255, so does the green, so does the blue. So we got 256 levels of brightness for each one of our 3 primary colors. And if you multiply 256 by 256 by 256, you get over 16 million colors. And that is also called true color. Okay, we're going to just leave it the way it is, though. Black on white looks pretty good. The other thing I want to take a look at is we do have some keyboard shortcuts. These are pretty standard, at least these 3 right here. You can do Control B for bold, Control I for italic, and Control U for underline. What I skipped on the underline before was you do have some options here of more than just a single underline. You can double underline or a fatter underline or some other options here as well. You can also specify the color if you want to. And there's one other keyboard shortcut that I think is really handy, and that is if you hold the Control key down and do the right square bracket, which is just above the Enter key. It's 2 over from the P key on your keyboard. And as I'm doing this, keep an eye on the font size box up here. And what happens is I'm going to do it again and again and again and again. And every time I do that, it increases the font size by 1. and the holding control and the left square bracket decreases the font size by 1. So if you keep your eye on that font size box, it's going to go down by 1 every time. And the difference between this and these two buttons right here is these two buttons follow the increments over here. So you can very quickly get something that's pretty large. The advantage of doing the left square bracket and the right square bracket is you usually don't know what size font you want if you're like creating a poster or something like that. And you can just, lay here on the key until you get it to the size that you think looks right, and then you can stop. Going over here, it does do a live preview, but we got some big gaps in there. So either one works. I think it's the really handy one, though, is just to do the left and right square brackets along with the control key. Let's take one more look at our font colors here. And we've got these theme colors. And, the theme, these 10 colors vary depending on which theme is selected. And we'll talk about themes more in another video as well. But if we go to our Design tab here, the leftmost button is called Themes. And we've got a bunch of themes here. And basically they are combinations of colors and fonts. And if you... Let's click on this one here. So if I click on that one, this was blue a minute ago. And now if I go back to my Home tab and go to my font color here and look at these, those are the ones for this theme that I selected. And they're not the same ones for the theme that I had selected a minute ago. So if I go back here and undo my Modify Theme, I should be back to the one I was on before, which gives me blue. And now if I go look at my colors here, they're the ones that I had a minute ago. So the themes over there basically give you palettes of different colors that Microsoft thinks go well together, and you can quickly change the look of an entire document by changing the theme. But we'll talk about that in more detail in a future video.